Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am not here with Geeky Sparkles. She's out and about today. We're going to talk about Grand Theft Auto 6, Rockstar Games, and video game unions. And I know unionization has been a huge talking point in the video game industry over the last couple of years. I believe it is an effort to try and shore up your defenses against layoffs. And a lot of these people know they're going to get laid off, so they're trying to make sure they get, a severance package, good severance package, and or they don't get gone as quickly because all these companies are laying people off, right? And unions back in the day were originally about making sure workers had better working conditions and, decent pay and, that the employers were not abusing them and all that. In recent years, white-collar workers have unionized. Again, I believe to make sure that they have job security, and or in the worst cases, in some of the most egregious cases, it's been to try to dictate the content that the studio produces. We saw this with Image Comics. We saw this with the first attempt at the Kickstarter union, that they wanted a chance to veto what the company produced, and that is outside of a union's purview, in my opinion. But a lot of these companies have become more and more anti-union. A lot of times they'll allow the union to happen and then they'll find a way to get rid of them later. See also some of these news outlets, I think it's like Gizmodo or Geo Media or whatever. They're like, yeah, we'll just sell the company off. You guys can unionize, but we're going to look for a buyer and then we're just going to sell all you off and they can figure out what to do with you. So it does kind of, in some ways it buys you time, I think. In other ways, it hastens the inevitable, or it makes you more likely to be terminated. And in this case, Rockstar Games apparently fired a bunch of people that they thought were going to unionize, because it does become hard for the company to get rid of you, harder for the company to get rid of you, and they have to pay you more. And, sometimes, I'm not saying always, but sometimes the asks are ridiculous. And a lot of companies now, they're looking at AI and they're looking at, overseas labor, and they're like, some people would argue maybe they're the same thing, but that's a whole nother discussion. That's a whole nother discussion. But, they're looking at alternatives and they're like, yeah, why am I going to pay you $200,000 a year to shit on us and to cause problems internally and not do your work? And you know what I'm saying? So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the accusations. And this is like, look, if there's one guaranteed hit in AAA gaming right now, it's going to be Grand Theft Auto 6. I know a lot of people complained about the price of the game. It's probably going to be $100. If people play it for 10 years, what does it matter, right? I don't want that to be the new normal, but if I'm being honest, we had games cost $100 or close to $100 when adjusted for inflation, especially back in the 90s. Now, they were cartridges, they were complete games, and you got some real winners like, Chrono Trigger and Phantasy Star 4 and Virtual Racing, but it's not unprecedented. I think that we've just gotten used to not having to pay that much for games because, they're not on cartridges anymore. People are going to pay it. I'm going to be honest with you. People are going to pay $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6 if it's even remotely decent, even if it sucks ass, because it's a Grand Theft Auto game and it's the first one in a long time. People are going to pay it. So I think a lot of these employees are probably trying to make sure that they got job security. And in some ways, maybe it is, a little on the extortion side. Maybe it is because they're like, hey, I know you guys are going to make a ton of money. We want to cut, but let's see what's going on here. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com. We're going to be ramping up our podcast presence and other stuff, I think, over there. Was news.clownfishtv.com, but we don't post news over there. We just post podcasts. So what's the point of calling it news? It's more.clownfishtv.com. All right. So let's talk about this. This is coming from The Verge. GTA 6 developer accused of union busting and mass firings. Okay, a trade union says that all of the fired Rockstar employees were members of a union Discord channel. Okay, Rockstar, the developer of Grand Theft Auto 6, fired between 30 to 40 employees on Thursday, as previously reported by Bloomberg. According to the Independent Workers Union of Great Britain, All the employees fired were part of a private trade union Discord chat and were either already union members or attempting to organize a union at Rockstar. Rockstar has just carried out the most blatant and ruthless act of union busting in the history of the games industry. The union president, Alex Marshall, said in a statement. Alan Lewis, head of global corporate communications at Rockstar, parent company Take-Two, responded telling The Verge the firings were for gross misconduct and for no other reason without elaborating further. The firings were spread out across Rockstar offices in the UK and Canada. It's not in the US. They come just 7 months ahead of the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. The game's launch was originally scheduled for the fall, but a few months ago, they delayed the release until next year. We hope you understand we need the extra time to deliver at the level of quality you expect and deserve. Well, if you're going to charge $100, hell yeah. So here's what the union said. Rockstar has just carried out the most blatant and ruthless act of union busting in the history of the video game industry. This flagrant contempt for the law and for the lives of the workers who bring in their billions is an insult to their fans and the global industry. Despite this calculated attack on workers organizing for a collective voice and to improve their difficult working conditions, the Rockstar union remains undeterred. They will keep organizing for respect and better conditions whilst continuing to pour their blood, sweat, and creativity into games that are loved by millions. TLDR, this game has a damn good chance of making billions of dollars, and we want to cut. Let's be honest. Let's be honest here, right? Everybody's getting laid off all over the place in AAA gaming. Where else are you going to go? Seriously, every studio is laying off right now. So yeah, of course, people are going to try to secure the bag, as the kids say. So the union is going to pursue every legal claim possible to ensure our members are reinstated and receive interim relief. And Rockstar will just, relocate the office or whatever they have to do. Geez, look at what happened with Ubisoft. Like, Ubisoft is failing miserably, but they actually spun off their most successful titles into a whole nother company. And part of that's probably because of the unions. They probably shut down. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think people realize companies will go to very extreme measures, great lengths to get rid of unions. And I've been at companies that have done that. At one company I worked at, it was a newspaper publisher, but they also printed a bunch of newspapers and magazines for other publishers. And the pressmen wanted to unionize. I told this story before, but we have a lot of new people since I told it. But the pressmen wanted to unionize, and they were already the highest paid pressmen in that part of the state. Actually, it might have been the highest paid, because we were doing like TV Guide and stuff like that back in the day. That's how old I am. They were publishing like TV Guide and all these other publications. And so they were like, hey, there's a lot of money going through the shop. We want to cut. And the owner's like, hell no, you're already the highest paid pressman in the state, I believe at that point. And it got so bad that he sold the printing business to somebody else, and then he split off the newspaper from the printing business, and I went with that. But he basically split the company in half and said rather sell the company or sell that part of the company off than have to deal with these people. And then the new owner came in and fired everybody. He's like, it resets your employment agreement. I'm not sure exactly how that worked, but it reset their employment agreement, and he's like, you're all fired. Like, we knew. Like, thanks for giving us the heads up. You're going to be a problem. You're all fired. And that was that, right? And they hired cheaper workers. And I don't know. I think they're still in business. I'll have to go check. Anyway, Alan Lewis, the head of global corporate communications at Take-Two, says we strive to make the world's best entertainment property by giving our best-in-class creative teams positive work environments and ongoing career opportunities. Our culture is focused on teamwork, excellence, and kindness. Rockstar Games terminated a small number of individuals for gross misconduct and for no other reason. So were they on the Discord talking about wishing death on their employers and all this other crazy stuff? Because if they're doing that, then yeah, they need to get gone, right? Here's some of the comments. It's coming from The Verge. I wouldn't be surprised if the Discord contained NDA protected info just while they were all chatting and not being careful. That'd be a legitimate reason to fire the members. The union aspect makes good headline, but I don't think Rockstar would be that stupid. I don't know. My feeling toward GTA somehow changed. I really enjoyed this over-the-top version of Crazy America and GTA 5, but since Trump, oh geez, since Trump, I feel less and less in the mood to play a game in that setting. It feels too much like reality. Maybe I will do a rerun of Cyberpunk 2077. Well, when the game is finished, most of the staff will be fired. Yeah, that's what I think's going on. I mean, I think that they're looking for a technicality to get rid of them. When the game is finished, they will probably lay a bunch of these people off. And they're trying to get the bag. And that's what, going back to the beginning of the video, what unions are used for now is basically to guarantee you the best severance package because they know they're on limited time. Everybody's laying off. Even successful companies are laying off. YouTube offered buyouts to anybody who would take one just a couple days ago, right? So Rockstar, as soon as this game's done, they're going to be like, yeah, like 2/3 of you are gone. And then we're just going to have people doing patches and updates and stuff like that. And, when's Grand Theft Auto 7 coming out? In like 2042? At this rate. So like, they're not going to need a lot of these people. This would be a long, long way from the first time an American manager has made a snap decision to fire more than 10 people at once from a UK division without bothering to check if their grounds are legal under UK law. Then the solution will be we shut down the UK office and we move to Texas or something. I mean, that's the truth. That's what they're going to do. We move to India. We move someplace else. We go someplace else where the law is more favorable for employers, and that's what they will do. And I think these people know it, and that's why they're trying to get what they can get before they get gone. And that was kind of the same with, again, I don't have a problem with people unionizing for better working conditions if they're actually being abused by their employers, if they're making ridiculous demands of them. That is what the purpose of unions were for. But I think they're also looking for unrealistic job security now. And again, in the worst case scenarios, they want to unionize to tell the company they work for what they can and cannot produce. Like if you took a job at the widget factory, you can't unionize and tell the widget factory they can't make widgets anymore. Like you knew the deal when you signed up, right? You're here voluntarily. Like you're the employee, not the other way around. You know what I'm saying? That I don't agree with. I've never agreed with that. I'm like, if you don't like the stuff that the company you work for produces, then you go find a job someplace else. You don't bully the company by unionizing and then trying to force them to make the kinds of things you want to. And that was one of the biggest issues I had with, the original deal with Kickstarter was when they unionized, it wasn't just about better working conditions. It was like, we want to be able to veto projects. And as grunt employees, we want to veto projects that we don't like. And this happened over Image Comics too. The people that were basically the office staff wanted to dictate what kind of content that Image Comics could produce. Basically, we wanted to be able to blacklist people we didn't like because we were getting in a fight with them on Twitter or whatever. And that's bullshit. Like, it's like, you don't like it, you go work for another company, right? It's your job to help your employer make money. And if you don't like the way that they're making money, you don't have to be here. You can go start your own company, right? But a lot of them can't. That's the truth. Discord channel. Yeah, right. Laughs in Gen 6-7. I'll be pirating GTA 6. It's like watching time wind backwards the last decade. Sad, but not expected. Being in a union doesn't mean you can't be fired. The National Labor Relations Act would like a word. A puppet organization with no real enforcement powers. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's harder to fire union employees, and that's why they do it. Because I mean, I think sometimes people are fired for wrongful, it's wrongful termination. They're fired for the, stupid infractions but again, this is UK. If it's US, most states, it's at will. And if they don't like you, if you show up and they're like, you know what, your hairdo offends me. I didn't like the way you looked at me this morning. You're done. Pennsylvania, I know that's the way it works. California, I know you have to have more of a case, but like Pennsylvania, just be like, you know what? I don't like the way you smell today. You're fired. And you can do it. And that's it. That's basically it. So now they're talking about boycotting GTA 6. Oh boy. No union, only crunch. Rockstar Games terminated a small number of individuals for gross misconduct and for no other reason. This person says, this is if you're looking, not a denial. They fired 30 to 40 people for being pro-union in conversations happening on a private union Discord. It doesn't even try to deny that's what they did. What it actually attempts to do is redefine, reclassify being pro-union in text in a private union chat room as gross misconduct. If you're going to attempt to unionize and you're going to talk shit about your employers, you better make sure that you don't have a company mole in your Discord, because this happens a lot. Like, look, they're not stupid. A company like Rockstar, this is Take Two, right? They sent thugs to a guy's house over Borderlands, if I remember correctly, right? I mean, they're very aggressive. So, you know, if you guys are planning to unionize and in their minds cause their company harm and a PR black eye and all that, you better make damn sure you don't have a mole. And so you've got somebody in there screenshot and everything, right? So they denied it. They said that they were fired for gross misconduct. And who knows? Again, that's very vague. But yeah, look for them to pull out of the UK pretty soon, I think. But these guys knew they were gone, and that's typical for a AAA title. Like, they'll work you like dogs for years, and then as soon as it's out the door, you're done, and then you have to move on to another gig. It's like the animation industry, right? You work on a movie, and when the movie's done, you're out the door. So we'll see what happens, but there we go. I don't think it's gonna. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's gonna affect the sales at all. I think you could, at this point with GTA 6, the hype is so unreal that you could say if you install GTA 6 on your computer will burst into flames, and your mom will die, and people will still buy it. It's going to cost $300. Your computer will burst into flames, and your mother will drop dead. Do you still want to play this game? Y or N? And they are going to push Y. I'm just saying, that's kind of where we're at. I could be wrong, but it's pretty unreal, the hype. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.